Welcome to the Haunted Chapel. It's like church, but for metal. Here are your hosts, John Araya and Brittany Elliott.
Welcome back to the Haunted Chapel. I'm John.
And I'm Brittany.
And thanks for tuning in. And before we start, I want to say please subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify and Amazon and Apple, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a like, review us, and check us out.
Drop a comment and let us know who you may want to see on the podcast, or ask us a question. Ask us anything, and you might get featured on the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to fill you in on what we've been up to. It's been a little bit since our last podcast, our podcast with Wino. That was awesome. What a great one. That was a good one with a legend. Guitar hero legend. I mean, and
Wino's a badass.
Wino's badass. And his clip, his movies. He's got a movie premiere coming up.
Yeah, you guys make sure you check out the Wino documentary. It's going to premiere on 4/20 in Woodstock, New York, and you can get all the info on our previous podcast about that. But check out the Wino doc, support Wino. He is truly one of the greatest guitar players, rock gods of all time, and just stayed true to himself and stayed humble, and I will forever support that man.
Yeah.
So, we've seen a couple shows lately, which has been awesome. We got to see our buddies in Atomic Bitch Wax.
Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I had never seen it before, and they're three-piece. Holy smokes, man! They're just amazing musicians, man.
Incredible
they blew me
musicians.
away.
Yeah, all three of them are just incredible. And if you guys aren't familiar with Atomic Bitch Wax, it's 3 of the 5 members of Monster Magnet. So it's basically Monster Magnet minus Phil Caivano and, of course, the Space Lord, Dave Windorf, who is one of the only people that I've actually gotten, like, starstruck by. Like, when I met Phil, and he was like, hey, you want to meet Dave? And I was like, I'm not sure I want to meet the Space Lord, because I really love Monster Magnet, and I've met a couple of my heroes that kind of bum me out. But he's like, dude, no, Dave is not that guy. Like, Dave is awesome. So sure enough, I met Dave, and he was great. So I love Monster Magnet, love Bitch Wax. They're great guys. We got to see Jerry Cantrell right before that, and I will forever just adore Jerry Cantrell. He's one of my favorites of all time.
That was a great set too.
Yeah.
Really good. They're always good. But Jerry always rocks. So that was a good show.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Hell's Heroes down in Houston.
That was rad.
We went down to the pre-party. That was great.
Yeah, if you guys haven't been to Hell's Heroes in Houston, it's put on by our friend Christian Larson, and he's got a band now, Necrofire and Night Cobra. He used to have a band called Venomous Maximus. You guys might be familiar with them, but great friend. I've known him for probably like 13 years. And awesome people. I love to support them because they're really good people, and he's like a true metalhead. He's not just trying to monetize off of our culture, you know, like a lot of promoters do. So definitely... that was a blast. Saw a lot of friends. We got to see the Tom Warrior Hellhammer set, which was absolutely incredible. Got to tattoo some people, and yeah, it was great. But this week we have some super special guests. Actually, some local Texas heroes, metal legends in the house, and they're not originally from Texas, but they claim Texas now. It's our friends in the band Chemacost, and they're from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they are a ripping thrash band. If you guys have not heard them, you've got to check out Chemacost. They've got one album out right now, and they are about to release a new single, which is absolutely fucking badass.
It's a great song. There's a teaser. You can catch the teaser video on YouTube. It's like 26 seconds. It is a tease because you're like, what? And then it's done.
More. Yeah, they do a cover of A Lesson in Violence on their first record, and it is just, it's so hard, dude. And I'll never forget, before I even heard the record, I walked in to a bar with a friend of mine, and she and I were there to see, I don't even remember, the opening band, and Chemacost came on after, and I was like, wow, these guys are amazing. And I'd seen them before when I lived in DFW, but the bar that I was talking about was in Austin when I lived there briefly in 2018, and I hadn't seen them do A Lesson in Violence, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited they're playing, and they came out with that, and dude, I just lost my mind because that was the best cover of that song I've ever heard. I mean, Ernie Jeremio is the singer, and he looks like Tom, Johnny's brother, and also has a Slayer cover band that is just incredible. Like if you close your eyes, you would think that you were in the Show No Mercy days. Like he's a badass. So he really does it.
If you ever you see Chemacost, playing in your town, go check them out. Or if you see Postmortem, which is their tribute band, check them out because they're really good. Ernie does an incredible job of being the front man for Postmortem. He's a really good dude too.
He plays the part. He even wears the Slaytanic shirt.
Yeah. Also, we checked out Exciter. That was a good one.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. It was really cool. Hung out with our friend DK.
Love you, DK.
Yeah, thanks for getting that band together and bringing them back out on the road, man. You did a great job.
That's right.
And you're a ripping guitar player, dude.
Yeah, Exciter's killer. I think they only have a couple more dates in the U.S., so that might be gone by the time this comes out. So if you ever see Exciter touring, you got to check them out. They're so old school and kick-ass, and very rarely do you see a drummer singing, which is just so cool in itself. Like, just the stamina it must take to play drums and sing is just amazing. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, let's get started. And here's our conversation with Chemacost, Ernie and Rob. Please enjoy. Thank you.
You're going to love it.
Rad.
There's Ernie.
Right.
Can you hear and see us?
Yes,
we can hear you guys. We
right
see
on.
You. I like
Sit
that.
down here, Ernie.
I like
Can
that.
you turn that up a little bit?
Look at that
How's
sweet
it going?
couch.
Possibly. Let me see.
I think we need one of those couches for our room.
I think that's
looks
it's like 90s retro. I know
It's
there's
freaking awesome.
It looks like the couch. It looks like the couch from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Hey guys, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
All right. How you doing, Ernie?
Can you
Good to
hear
meet
us
you,
all right?
man.
We can hear you.
We can hear you good, man.
Good.
What's up, guys?
Not much. We're super, super grateful to be on with you guys. We got some exciting things coming up, and we'd love to share it with as many folks as possible. And, I don't know, Ernie's been doing this for a little while, so, he deserves to get a little bit of recognition.
That's right, man.
Ernie, you're a badass. I've seen you jam many times with a couple of your bands, and we were just jamming the album, and Lesson in Violence came on. And I remember the first time I saw you play that live, and I went fucking crazy. And I was like, yes, because that was the greatest cover of Lesson in Violence I've ever heard. I was like, that's so awesome. It was at, what's that place, Texas Mist?
Texas Mist,
in Austin.
Austin, yeah.
I randomly showed up to a show and you guys were playing. I was like, this is the greatest freaking cover of Lesson in Violence ever. I love this band. That was one of the first times.
One time back at the Curtain Club, Harold, is his name Oystein, or he's
Harold
the one who did
wasn't he in DRI?
Yeah, he wasn't the bass player for DRI, and we were opening up for DRI, but we ended with the Lesson to Violence. And he jumped up on stage, and I really didn't even know who he was at the time. He got up on stage and he just came up and started singing the song with us. And I was like, at first I didn't know what to think about it, but it ended up going really well. It's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube if you look at Chemacost,
that's crazy.
Yeah, Harold is old school, man.
Really cool.
He's old school. He was there from the beginning, He has
the front row.
all those OG pictures of Metallica and Exodus and Testament, like before they were Testament.
It's crazy because Harold actually was supposed to be our next guest on the podcast, but he's been super busy. So we got you guys on, and Harold might be the next guest, and you brought him on.
Yeah, how funny!
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we've been in touch with Harold. We're trying to line him up right now, but he's kind of busy. So, we're just we're lining up other guests before them. So, but thank you guys.
Shout
for
out
doing
to
this,
Harold.
Man.
Yeah, shout out to Chemacost. You guys are awesome, and I hear you guys might have a new single and video coming out soon.
That's the word on the street.
Right, yeah. The name of the song is Infectious Disease. Right now we have a little teaser clip, and the whole thing is just a teaser of what's to come. Like we're working on recording another EP, possibly an LP, but it's just like a teaser to show people that we're still active, we're still doing stuff, and we're going to be releasing more material soon.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
You guys have been like 10 years, right? You've been around 10 years now, just about.
Yeah, I think our first show we played in 2015, and we've went through numerous member changes. But it's pretty much solidified with Pierce Morales, Mike Wilson, myself, and now with Rob. Rob's been with us close to a year and a half, almost 2 years now.
Oh,
So
wow.
I think between the first project was one thing, but with actually Chemacost, I think it's just over a year. I think December of 21 was the first show I did with you guys.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah. But I mean, I fell into this through other projects that just kind of fell apart quickly, and it's been the best experience, and kind of getting to be a part of the DFW metal scene and knowing these guys. I mean, we go to a show, Ernie's recognized a lot. People are like, you're that guy, you're that guy, you're that guy. It's like local celebrity here, man. But I mean, the drive that we have, the balance of personalities. Obviously, everyone talking right now knows the chemistry in a band is probably most important beyond blending in talent. And these guys just we have a balance. We travel well, we respect each other's lifestyles. We're, kind of on the same page, and the excitement just keeps coming up for me. Like every time I go to practice and rehearsal, it's just it's kind of a party in my own mind. So I'm just super appreciative to be a part of it, honestly. So
it's never boring. I never get the feeling like I'm dreading to go to practice. It's like I love it. I enjoy it. I like hanging out with these guys. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, that's important.
Getting on the road and playing shows.
So you guys toured. You've been on the road. You've done you've done dates outside of Texas, right?
Mostly just weekend stuff. We played FTA a few times. When we played FTA when Exodus headlined, and also when I know Death Angel headlined one time when we were out there. And we've been getting on the road and just traveling when we can. We've been out to Tampa to play the Tampa Death Fest, and played out in New Orleans, and we go out to El Paso often. And also we do the Slayer tribute band Post-Mortem, so we kind of piggyback off of that. Sometimes just doing the Slayer tribute band draws people that Chemacost normally wouldn't just bring, if you go to a town just where you're unknown.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
But then people hear will hear Post-Mortem, and they're like, this band's awesome. And then they find out about Chemacost, and they're like, this band's even more awesome.
It's convenient because it's the exact same guys in both outfits. So it's kind of like a credit card in a tight situation. You need some more songs to break out. Like, we got 20 Slayer songs we can play. And that's been a total trip for me as well. I mean, honestly, just the style of genuine thrash metal has been something that's really opened me up musically in the last several years, where I was always kind of into it, but is kind of second degree. But I'm just a massive fan. I'm going backwards with music I discover, and there's a reason for that. There's music that sounds like it's coming from a human being. That energy is there, that dynamic is there, and how, especially drummers. I mean, as a drummer, it's I can pick out within 3 seconds, I feel like, if it's a manufactured sound or there's a human being behind that hasn't been manipulated to all hell.
So
guys... I can appreciate the advances of things and how extreme everything sounds, but I'm not looking for that. I'm going backwards, looking for what I grew up on.
Right.
Same with tattooing. That's how I feel about tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a formula, and it was, it's perfect, and then they modernized it, and it kind of is starting to go, and I feel that way about music a lot of the time too. Kind of the simpler the better, and sometimes the older the equipment and the better the sound.
Yeah, if you guys lost your laptop, you could probably still still do a gig, right?
There's been some chats about that I've overheard, and it's a double-edged thing. If I feel, just as a music fan, if you can blend this stuff and have a good balance, and it does justice to your music that you're trying to put out, and you're proud of it, by all means.
Yeah.
But it's hard, as from where we come from, to hear these stories to where guys are canceling festival dates because that little box didn't show, and it's kind of to me, that's just taking the soul out of the music, and I don't know if I'd even want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the way things have gone.
Right.
And the way we get out on the road and play, I have a little Honda Odyssey, and we're able to fit 2 half stacks and a 5-piece drum kit, and the 4 of us. I use a Sanzan pedal for my bass, and we're able to drive, just about wherever we can within the United States, and get out there and play.
Our setup time has blown folks' minds. Like, we're a sound guy's dream. You know, they're just like, you have any drum triggers? No, we don't even have effects pedal. No, none of the guitar players use pedals direct into a tidal wave and
crate tidal wave amplifier.
And it's just
it's very similar to Ampeg VH140C, the same circuitry, which a lot of bands in the past use. You know, they're great amps and they're solid state, and we knocked our 2 cabinets over while filming our video, and they still work great.
They still work. Hey man, you can't be solid state
into the soft ground and became off balance and tipped over. We're like, that was an act of God. How did that happen? And then the property owner comes out and he's like, guys, what are you thinking? We're like, oh. But hey, they worked out perfectly fine.
So you guys, you did a video shoot for this single, yeah? You ever did a video shoot? Awesome.
Well, we'll talk about the video a little bit, what we did. We went down to a town called Venus, Texas. Are either of you guys familiar with Venus?
Venus?
I've seen signs for it, but I've never been there.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, like a lot of towns in Texas, right? So it's about 35 minutes south of Dallas, if that. And a gentleman down there owns property and it's friends with the 2 guys that were collaborating on producing the whole
David
thing.
Gonzalez and David Parada.
Yeah, David Gonzalez, Metal Dave on Instagram, and Director Parada on Instagram. These guys are pros.
Both amazing. And it's like their first collaboration, and they decided to work with us on it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Metal Dave
he's in Japan with.
Well, he just got back from Japan, but he's been going out with Pantera and photographing them.
Yeah,
so it's amazing. You see him down in South America, then in Japan, and
and then anyway, we end up landing him in this guy's remote backyard in Venus, Texas, for a few hours, and so we set up some cabs. We lit up a massive, like 20-foot flame high bonfire, and
David Gonzalez went over there and cleared out all the brush for his friend to make the bonfire for us.
That's Texas
not
style.
Easy.
That's right.
And that thing lit up pretty quick, didn't it? I was like, we were doing a couple takes and I could feel the heat building on my back. And I'm like, I don't want to screw up this take, but I think I'm going to go up in about a second. It's getting pretty hot. But we did that. We did a few takes and it was quick work. It was like, 6 p.m. to midnight. We were out of there, had a few beers. Thanks, Sam, who owns the property. Love you, Sam. And off we went and got this little teaser. And it's like, it just goes with the style. You know, I don't think we're reinventing any production wheel here, but we're excited about it for sure.
That's awesome.
Pretty much a straightforward, just video like a live performance of you guys.
Yes,
that's
in
awesome.
Seemingly a darker, remote area with a big fire in the background. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's what fans want to see. It seems like, though, like people, you know, a lot of bands like Tool, for example, always had these crazy kind of artsy music videos, which were awesome. But I'd read an article somewhere that's saying like fans really want to see the band jamming. You know, that's really what fans want to see. Just strip it back to basics and jam out. And so they like fans want to see you singing the lyrics and shit. You know, that's what I want to see. I grew up in the 90s.
I got a point to talk about here. All right, so I'm not going to name the band, but I was really into a release that came out, let's just say we can narrow it down, August of 2019. Anyway, there is a track on there that there was this it was when the verse turns around to the second verse, and the way that they fall into it is just massive. It sounds so good. Oh my God, I listen to it over and over and over. They come out with the video. And it's self-produced, you know, pretty tasteful guys doing it for a long time, self-produced anyway, but the editing that went along with the accents and the aggression and the real impact of the song was totally missing. And I'm just like, I'm anticipating this part and I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
And I've rewound it and I'm like, oh, fuck, it's really missing this stuff. So as much as none of us are pros at any of that, we've just always said, like, listen, like, get those impactful parts, just the sample was like, holy shit, this guy knows exactly what we wanted.
Nice.
So I think it'll work out just like we want, for sure.
So the director of the video or the producers, they're into the music. They're into it, right? So
yeah.
That's awesome.
He does. He's doing a couple other up and coming deathcore bands. One's called Ultimatum. That's I think is rehearsing down the hall right now. We're in our rehearsal building.
That's your rehearsal spot.
Hell yeah.
What's that?
That's your rehearsal spot there?
Yeah, we're in North Richland Hills. You know, you guys are familiar with the area. they changed the North Richland Hills City Building that's on 820 and Holiday into an entire rehearsal facility. And up until recently, we could go like take a phone call in a jail cell.
Yeah, there's jail cells.
We could go hang out in like the little visiting room. Or
That's crazy.
But anyway, it's a good spot, and we're able to.
We're thinking about doing the podcast
in the jail cell.
Not in the jail cell, but where they talk to the inmates when they visit them and talk to the inmates.
Oh yeah,
but
the
it's
window with the phone.
Too echoey, you know.
We should have done it through the plexiglass.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That would have been perfect, right?
Like that scene from Midnight Express where they're talking and he's in a Turkish jail. You guys ever see that movie, Midnight Express?
I haven't seen it. No.
What movie?
Midnight Express.
I have. I don't remember a lot of scenes.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. I think it came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who was in it, but Midnight Express about this guy who gets busted in Turkey carrying drugs, and he gets stuck in a Turkish prison. It's brutal.
That'd be a nightmare. Yeah. Hey, we've heard some scary stories over the years.
Yeah.
So are you guys into? I mean, I don't know if Brittany, if we've ever talked about it when we were doing this guy here, but
I tattoo Rob.
It's all great.
Rob's my friend
Yeah, let's see
and
that.
my client.
My son is
Fireball.
like, look at all the colors. Wow.
Do you like it? Because Rob just lets me do whatever, and then I'm like,
Looks great, man.
and you're
Looks
so
great.
positive and fucking awesome that I'm like, does he really like it or is he just nice?
I love it. I love the style, and I mean, I have plans to fill in more space, but
Awesome.
I'm actually going to be down there next week. I was going to hit you up about that, but I don't. I mean, you know, it's a little last minute.
I'll lease you for a high five and a brisket sandwich or something.
There we go. There we go. I was going to ask you guys though, are you guys into like old school like horror flicks and like real niche type stuff from 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, back in the day, I used to go to like the local video store and just rent, B-movie horror movies, VHS tapes, and just watch whatever I could, like The Gates of Hell and stuff like that. Some really
I've got
movies.
reintroduced to this like really like black little mosaic stuff of that industry, and there's some attachment that I've got with it. Like it's so calming. It's like this escape. It's totally goofy. Oh my god! There's a couple flicks that I just discovered. I can't remember the names of them, but I mean, it's amazing to see the types of things that were acceptable back then that aren't now, but then the things that are acceptable now and back then, like bits of racism and sexism and oh my god, this one movie had these crazy incestual insinuations. It's like, what the hell? This would not fly now. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. Super goofy. It was like something, 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 something. 4 words that kind of rhyme.
Oh, that one movie.
Let me look. I'm gonna look that
it's
up.
Not helping at all.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
So when's y'all's next show?
Yeah. You got some gigs lined up, or?
Yeah, there's the Chemacost logo.
Actually, we're going to head out to New Orleans, and we're just doing the postmortem, the Slayer tribute thing out there. They had a band that some friends of ours, Hispanic Satanic Productions.
The Hispanic Satanic
Hispanics.
Yes.
I can't. There's one or the other.
They hook us up all the time in New Orleans. It's great, man. Last time we were out there, we were going to go out to Tampa, but the hurricane kind of prevented us from going out there. So we just hung out in New Orleans and partied, and they brought a whole bunch of meat out and had a cookout, and
they were incredibly hospitable.
Yeah.
And what they did for us for cooking and everything. I mean, we were like, this is what it's all about. Like, this isn't a bus. This isn't working on $10 per diem per day. Like, this is real hospitality and appreciation for what we do. And I think that's something that we've kind of come to terms with. Like, for the right opportunity, we'd love to go further with this, but we're so happy doing what we're doing because we get to do it on our own terms.
Yeah.
We can get good music out there, like with our own ability. And, you talked to me 15 years ago, and it's like the idea of really being successful and being happy doing this is far different than my view of it now. And I don't know about you, but for me, like it definitely in the last like 5 years, it's like, holy shit, I can really enjoy this without having to give up a certain part of my soul in order to really be happy doing it. So
we really enjoy doing it. And the shows we have coming up, it's like we love getting on the road and playing. We're going to play out in New Orleans at the Siberian. And then
I just brought that up.
We're also scheduled to play in Tampa again at their Tampa Death Fest that they're having. And we'll be out in El Paso. And a lot of these shows we're doing both CHEMICAUST and postmortem. And we're working on doing something in Tempe, Arizona, hopefully Albuquerque, New Mexico. Just trying to get out, if you guys know any place that needs a Slayer tribute band.
Yeah, dude. I have a good friend.
Or the original band. Everyone needs a Slayer band.
I'll tell you, Ernie,
man. We're just willing to get out there, and play. It's like if we get some money doing it, it helps out, But,
yeah, I brought up the list of shows. We're doing May 13th in New Orleans. We're doing May 26th here in Dallas.
And Mind Fury, isn't Mind Fury out there? They're going to be playing with us from Austin. Mind Fury.
I'm not familiar.
Are you familiar with them? With Mind Fury, it has a female lead vocalist. We've played shows with them before. I think they're called Mind Fury. I might have I know it has Fury in there, but I know.
Hell Fury
out there in New Orleans.
Hell Fury. Is that Hell Fury?
Hell Fury. Bobby, she's on
Hell Fury. Maybe
Hell
Fury.
Those are our friends. Harley and Bobby.
And Bobby.
Yeah.
And then they're all our friends really. And then the guitar player designs all the artwork. Actually, he does the artwork for Hell's Heroes, the festival every year. The guitar player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
we'll be playing with them out in New Orleans here in May.
That's May 13th.
Yeah. Dude, Harley is the one, the bass player of Hell Fury. He's the one that designs all of our enamel pins for the Haunted Chapel. Yeah, so he's an awesome connection to have. Amazing human.
Yeah, it's a good dude, man.
Y'all hit it off with them.
They're great people. They're a good band. They bring it.
Yeah.
They're like more.
Yeah, they've always been super cool. We've done a few shows with them, and they've always been. Last time we played with at the Double Wide here in Dallas, and I took photos with them. We traded shirts.
Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
Cool.
They're good people. Harley's great, man. I think he likes buying like old basses and then like fixing them up, and then he's smart. He's a good dude.
Is he the one that owns that David Vincent bass, the Takamine? I think it is.
Yes. That red one.
And a few other bands too, because I love that bass, man. I would like to have that bass. There's one on Reverb now. It's about $3,000, but
wow. Yeah, he scored that bass. He's like, what I got?
I think from Japan. He said it was only like a couple $100 or like it was like fairly cheap. And then he sent me another video of him. He goes, this was a bad idea. And it was a close up and it was him like putting rhinestones all over one of his basses. And he's like, I'm already like 5,000 rhinestones in and I have a lot more work to do. And it was like 3 square inches.
Wow. Yeah. Dazzling his bass.
He made me
you got a bass that you could put rhinestones on.
No.
You'd be all Paul Stanley, Iceman.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I've seen some clips of, well, I guess it used to be called Chemical Warfare, but now you're Postmortem, right?
We were called War Ensemble.
War Ensemble. I'm sorry, wrong song. But I was
thinking of my favorite song.
I've seen some clips.
We've done War Ensemble for years, off and on, and then it just finally kind of fell apart. And we'd already learned all these songs, so we didn't want to just like put it to rest. So we just changed the name and kept on going with it.
Yeah, watch some clips, man. You do an excellent job, man. I think
thanks a lot.
Coming from this guy, he would know.
Tom Mariah, it's I can't do the high vocals, and he has such a unique voice.
He can't either. So it's all right.
When I first met Johnny, I was like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rob. I was going to say, when I first met Johnny, I was like,
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, real quick. I said, when I first met Johnny, I was like, all right, can you do it? And Johnny like just laughed. He's like, no.
I still got my balls, so I can't scream that high.
I don't know how. I think it's really cool how Ernie can bounce between. Obviously, Chemacost is a very aggressive vocal. A lot more guttural screaming essentially. But doing Tom Araya style or even some like more spoken word style that he does in the Chemacost material, which is kind of sparing, but to me, it sounds like a completely different guy, but I think it's just a talent how you can manipulate yourself like that. And whether it be like a tribute band or anything, like you sound great when you do it.
It's been a work in progress. I've wiped my voice completely out, try and sing like a cleaner, rough style, like try and sing like Slayer, like I've wasted my voice where I can't even utter a word. It's like several times I've done it, but now I'm kind of to the point where we could do Chemacost shows and Slayer shows, and I could pull it off for a few nights in a row.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. That's a big task, man. Because we were listening to the Unleashed Upon This World earlier, and like, man, those vocals are insane.
That's a badass
song. Yeah, and the music, everything is just, it was a good album, man. I like it.
Yeah. We met, I met Ernie through, as I mentioned, through a different project that we were all a part of for a short time. And in the meantime, obviously, I was introduced to Chemacost, but I wasn't entirely sure who did what in the band. I just knew that Ernie was in it. So I got one of the EPs and threw it on in my car. And I'm listening and I'm like, is that fucking Ernie screaming like that? And I text him, are you the singer on that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're fucking scary. Yeah. It's like the initial like reception of hearing him and what he does in something else, because he was just playing bass in this band. But then the whole vocal component, I'm like, holy shit. And then I got turned on to the whole tribute thing that they did at the time before I was a part of it. And it was just nothing but impressive. But yeah, it's fun taking it on the road. It's fun experiencing all this fun stuff. And obviously we basically travel along like the southern half of the United States. Yeah. And we do it on our own terms. We travel around in a Honda Odyssey. We have our own little spots. Ridiculous, like goofy stories. We broke down like 2 hours outside of El Paso last time out there. Found a lot of creepy shit at the side of the road I don't even want to recite.
In El Paso?
We spent a third of our money getting back there.
More than a third.
Yeah. And we changed. So I didn't think that our guitar player Mike had the automotive repair talents that he does.
But I had faith in him. I knew he could change that alternator.
I was like, I don't know. He was almost insulted that I didn't. And he gets going on this thing. We got the tow from what the little town is. It's like Headburn or something like that. Into El Paso, right to the Rock House, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. And we start working away on this alternator. And I had the joy of pulling the thing out of, because it's so awkward to get this big 20-pound ball of copper. So pull it out like I freaking ripped out a lion's heart. Like, freaking out. So we get the thing back in, and both Mike and I are just caked in grease and blood because both our hands just all bloody digging into this freaking
scraping your knuckles. No.
Listen, needless to say, I'm proud that we were able to fix shit like that.
I knew if I told Mike that I had every bit of confidence that he could do it, that man, I wasn't going to have to crawl under that man and do it myself.
You can do this, Mike. Go, go, go.
That's kind of what was happening anyway. It's like, how you doing, man?
You're doing great.
Tighten that bolt there.
Which, what are y'all drinking tonight?
Deep Ellum IPA tonight.
We rarely drink, but we got a beer for the occasion. So let's all air cheers.
All right on.
Cheers.
There you go. Here, let me open this.
Cheers, guys. Oh, you gotta get some fresh beer.
Yeah, Ernie needs a fresh beer.
Cheers.
All right,
cheers, guys.
I don't want to sound kind of self-absorbed here, but it's my 42nd birthday today. I'm honestly
Happy
not
birthday,
Rob. Didn't you tell me until now?
I'm gonna cheers to trying to be young.
I would have made you
man. Happy birthday, dude.
Cheers, Rob.
Thanks, man. Right on.
What a day to...
Dude, you're so awesome.
Well, it's a good day. We picked a good day to talk to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was quite. I didn't even really think of it till yesterday. It was like, this is, in all sincerity, like this. It's really great. I rarely have a high moment of experience or thought on birthdays nowadays, but this is really great.
Well, now I'm mad at you that you didn't tell me, because I would have sent you a gift that you could have opened on camera. But that's okay.
I just try to forget about getting older, I guess.
That's how Johnny is. Nobody.
We're going when we played a show probably in San Antonio on Mike's birthday. Mike Wilson, our guitar player, and Rob brought him these shots of alcohol called cum shots.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen those. They look like little sperms.
Yes.
Those are weird.
Mike did one on stage.
It's really flattering to let you do that. Like, wow, Mike, you're really emasculate. I don't know. It takes this little squirmy freaking thing. Oh my God, it's basically like rum chata in it, I guess. But anyway, you have to buy them at like kind of quirky stores. You can't find those at Kroger.
Like I told these guys, please don't Google that because I had a bad experience trying to find it.
You probably find some much more easier thought of things. But yeah, we one thing about us too is that it just seems like we like traveling is so easy. We're all kind of on the same page recreationally. No one's a bitch. No one can complain.
Yeah,
there's usually one, right?
Yeah,
might be.
There's always one, but if you all get along,
lucky. We've been pretty lucky. Like, we have had some drummers in the past that have been difficult. But
can you tell the story about Ron jumping out of the car?
Yeah, we can. Well,
can you say that, or are we item?
No.
We have to delete this out.
We can bleep out his name.
Ron Harris was an awesome drummer. He did a great job.
We can take out the bit out of Ron.
So did he jump out of a car or fall out of a car?
Character, man. I love that guy, but he put us through hell for a long time. But you can hear his drumming on the on the Unleashed Upon This World.
Yeah, to all Ron's credit, that's Ron on there.
Yeah,
that's not this, but 3 years before my time.
But man, he was difficult.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a metal drummer. He picked up on playing metal,
but he wasn't like a thrash. He was more like Queensryche, Iron Maiden. He wasn't an Iron Maiden tribute band prior to.
He could play with some time, though.
Excuse me. Yeah,
he could definitely manipulate 4/4 like.
Yeah, he was a drummer. He's like he had went to school for drumming.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh no shit.
Oh shit. He's
well, those are the shoes I had to fill, but
you're trying to fill Lombardo's shoes, so that's pretty amazing that you're able to do that. Okay.
I enjoy it, and I think half of what comes across and like being like pushing the energy of our bands is we just really enjoy doing it. Yeah, we're halfway talented. We have an idea what we're doing.
But Rob's doing a great job. It's like you could hear it on that video, the new song that's coming out.
Oh, thanks, Ernie. Just trying to make you happy, man.
That's nice.
Just trying to make you are happy.
I can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it. Excited.
Good job, Rob.
Well, thanks.
And you're an awesome human, Rob. You're an awesome human.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we had.
Listen, to be honest, like you guys, it took me a while to get into like surrounding myself with good people in Texas, and I left a lot in Chicago between family and kind of invested in something down here. It took a little while, but between say Ernie and these guys, meeting up with you guys, I mean, just knowing that these like-minded people are out there, it's really great, and I'm really happy we're in.
It definitely helps to have like-minded people around you.
Much props to you guys too for being the people that you are.
Yeah,
thank you. And it's cool we can all align on this whole metal thing, still keep this stuff going. But like, I'm just on maybe a more conclusive note here, like heavy music is in a pretty awesome place. Wouldn't you guys say?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's like a family. Like once say, hey man, you see someone wearing like a Wasp shirt or a
We're kind of losing volume here. We might be running out of battery.
Like oh yeah, metal. What's that?
Sorry, I think you're just getting kind of quiet there.
Tell me to.
We are. Or you guys are. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm a loudmouth. Johnny's a little quiet, so if you can hear me.
Oh, what's that on the wall?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, they'll come back on right now.
They'll be back.
You can edit. What did he say?
It's Rob's birthday.
He said they were losing battery.
I think he said he was losing power. He's like, we're losing volume. I think we're losing power. I need to plug in. I'll text Rob.
You seem to be experimenting with some technological differences.
There we go. All right, can you hear us?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
My phone died there a little bit.
Wouldn't be a metal podcast without some technical difficulties.
Happy birthday to That's awesome. Hell yeah.
But yeah, so it's a year older and still playing metal. But as I was saying before it died was like, and Johnny, I'm sorry that I lost you for your response, but music is in like heavy music is in such an awesome place, I feel like. And right from, bringing like old things coming back, obviously Metallica doing an album, Pantera playing out again, and obviously
Megadeth's killing it.
And it's all the intertwining stuff, and however you feel about it, it's great for fans. It's great for music.
Yeah.
You know, you can be specific on all this stuff, but I mean, as a lot of guys are saying right now, like when the tides rise and something like this, we all kind of do. And it's great.
I saw an article saying that people in the heavy metal are the happiest people on earth.
Dude, and so the other night, wow,
because it's like a community. Like when you see someone, like I was saying, like when you see someone wearing a heavy metal shirt, like any band, metal band, it could be you know, Pantera or whatever. You can look at them like, like all right, you know, you guys instant bond, you know?
Yes.
So we went to go see Exciter the other night, right? Like, Exciter. But we saw this guy that we know that he's like a new modern age Kronos kind of, right? He had this band, they were called XIL, and they're killer. They're from San Antonio, but we saw him once, just like, I think they opened for like Obituary or something. Or maybe Cannibal Corpse. And
it's Cannibal.
Dude, he was just fucking going crazy, and he had the cocaine shirt that Kronos wears and shit. And I was just like, this kid is awesome. I mean, he couldn't be over like 21, maybe, just fucking crushing it in this thrash band. But anyway, we saw him the other night, and he was like, "Oh, Johnny, whatever." Big fan of Johnny and Blood Cum and stuff. So he comes up, but he had this real normal kid with him wearing like a white long sleeve shirt, like khaki pants, and like a crew cut and stuff. And the kid's he comes up and he's like, "What's up, guys?" You know, hey. He's all fucking decked out like Halford and spikes and studs and shit. And then the kid next to him was all timid, and he's like, "Hey, this is my coworker. This is his first metal show." And the kid was like all scared, like shaking us.
He's holding a beer. He's like,
he was all freaked out. But then I was like, I go, "Welcome to your new addiction. We're the nicest people you'll ever meet." And he was like, he like perked right up, you know, and he was just like, wow, this is really cool. Like you could tell it wasn't what he expected, you know, like he thought it was going to be like all these scary people. And then here comes me, Ray of Sunshine, and a bunch of other people like that are just so genuinely fucking happy to be there seeing fucking Exciter, you know, and this guy was like, this is sick, you know, and so I swear to God, next time we see him, he'll be in all black.
Hey, what was the, didn't you guys go to a festival recently?
Hell's Heroes last weekend.
Yeah, where was that?
That was Houston.
Down in Houston,
Okay.
So our friend Christian Larson, Christian Larson puts that festival on, and he has a bunch of bands. His band years ago was Venomous Maximus. You probably heard of them. They're from Houston, but then he also has a band called Night Cobra, and his newer band is called Necrofire, which are kind of like black metal. And Johnny tour, they were support under Danzig for the last Danzig run that Johnny did, so that he got to know Christian well. I've known Christian for like probably 12 or 13 years. And so he's put on Hell's Heroes. I think this is maybe like their 5th year or something. And dude, it was awesome. The first night was like Tom Warrior doing an all Hellhammer set with his band Triumph of Death. And the next night was Possessed and Exciter and just all these fucking killer bands. And then the following night, the main draw was Tom Warrior again, Triptychon doing all for Early Frost. So, I mean, you guys need to play Hell's Heroes next year. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe we can make that happen. I haven't heard that. Oh my God, it's like all fucking metal. You have to play it. Yeah.
I'm new enough to Texas. I can play the new guy card for some of this stuff. But that's great.
That's
everything's just popping off right now. Like we were just talking about my job with one of our new employees. You know, she's just like, it's so great. You know, my husband can get out and we can go to these shows again. And they're all like every other day. It seems like there's a great show around DFW. And it's like, it is. Yeah, didn't you tell me, who told me that Kiss couldn't even get a tour bus when they wanted to? Was that you?
No, not Kiss. No,
Kiss?
I mean, there's been a bunch of bands that have Kiss probably flies everywhere in a private jet.
I just heard that they tried to get a bus and couldn't, and I'm sure that there's a string that could have been pulled beyond that. But it's like someone told me that story, and it's like, okay, that's a little ridiculous.
Well, even like Danzig was having a hard time getting a good bus. Like their bus kept breaking down, and AC went out, and this and that, and it's like, it was
the last run we did. We did the run last year in May, and the AC went out in the middle in Atlanta.
Glenn was not here.
And there was no air. We had all the windows open, and everyone was just like sleeping with their curtains open in their bunks. and Glenn's like, "Oh fuck this, fix this shit, man, fix this shit." And we were driving through the South with no AC, man. And then we hit New Orleans. Oh my God, it was brutal. But I mean, sometimes I guess you try looking for a bus if you're a little late to get one out. You know, good luck, man, because a lot of bands tour in the summer and spring and summer. So good luck finding a bus, but a good bus, you know, you can find one, but it's not going to be, top of the line. There's going to be some things missing on it, And the bus that we got, Ministry had it before us, and there was like mold in the fridge, and
There was like a rotting sandwich in the microwave.
yeah, it was. We're like, man, what the fuck? We didn't want to touch anything. Like owls in here, we're like. So we had Glenn was like, okay, tell this guy clean the fucking bus. So the guys, scoured the bus with bleach and fucking. What else?
Slim pickings. You get what you get, I guess.
Yeah,
nothing like leaving your mark, I guess, right? Like, we'll leave this for the next guy.
So they're like looking through the walls, looking for drugs and stuff.
Yeah, right.
That's great. So did you guys rehearse tonight, or you guys are you about to, or?
No, we just came out here for this. Like we're thinking this is probably the best place to do it at. There's this area has like a lot of tables, a lot of rooms that we just like walked around the facility and tried to find the best place that we thought we could.
So what's your current lineup right now then?
The current lineup, it's like Pierce Morales is original guitar player. Mm-hmm. I'm the original bass player, singer, mm-hmm. and then Mike Wilson's been with us since like 2018, I believe. Mm-hmm. And Rob Mann is the new guy in the band. So
okay.
Hell yeah.
So I play the drums and am the new guy. I've been the new guy in bands a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. And another cool thing is that we're getting to like writing our original music. It's been a while since I've been a part of something we can write and get shit out with the chemistry that's between the actual guys in the band. Stepping into shoes to fill for the last guy was definitely a challenge. Ernie knows that.
Yeah. and I know things will change and we're going to progress, and we'd like to stick with the old formula, but I'm sure things will change and we'll progress in different ways. And I don't think we're going to have drum triggers or mathematical riffs.
The more that extreme music pushes that line, it's mm-hmm. even with technology, it's like how like sonically from like human ears hearing this, how much more can we possibly absorb? How big and heavy and just a blast can it become?
Right.
And that's, I'm sure there's plenty of like-minded folks like this, but I've just got this idea of like, I just want to hear the human in it so bad. And
exactly.
But I do think it's a dying breed, it's to find a band that just comes out and plays, their guitar straight through their amplifier, their drums, like just being mic'd up. It's, we don't have backing tracks or triggers or a big massive Kemper or Axe FX guitar processor or anything like that.
And obviously all respect to like Gary Holt runs around with a Kemper last time I saw it. Mm-hmm. It's so convenient for what you do when you travel. Mm-hmm. But obviously that, Exodus is an entity of what it is. But definitely. all due respect to folks that use any type of convenient enhancements and whatnot. But for our style and where we're at, just the chord, the instrument, and, us being present is just what we feel really, really good with.
And that's what makes it so genuine and badass in my opinion.
Yeah.
Brittany and I always talk about like simplicity is always, sometimes it's the best, when you're simple, the simpler the better,
To quote Gene Simmons, you know what KISS stands for? Keep it simple, stupid. All right.
It's true, man.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like gear wise, the simplicity is usually better. You got an amp, a cabinet, maybe a stomp box, and that's it, man. That's how you get true. You can tell a musician by the gear they have. If you got a distortion pedal, a Marshall amp, or a boogie amp, or whatever, and a guitar, and then they shred, it's like, wow, that's just the true form. It's just stripped down, the truest form, and if you can shred on that, then you can shred on anything. There's no effects to mask anything.
The amplifiers that we use, the Crate Tidal Wave GTX 3500, they're amazing amplifiers. They're Crate, they're solid state, but they're as close as you could get to a tube amplifier without having a tube amplifier. They're just they're crunchy. They have such a great sound to them.
I can't believe what comes out of those.
And it's just guitar straight into the amplifier.
Yeah,
there's not a distortion. There's not an EQ pedal. There's
Well, you can hear it on the single, right? I mean, there's obviously some panning done, but there's really no enhancement on the guitar. There might be 2 rhythm tracks at one time, but that is that damn amp just blowing it out of the water, you know?
So when does the single come out?
Yeah.
We are going to release the video of Infectious Disease on April 15th.
But don't be like one of those bands that releases like 6 songs for a new album, and then the album comes out, and then you already released the whole album. Just kidding.
No, we're just going to do this one song as a teaser, and then I'm not sure if it's going to be a 6-song EP or if we're going to try to push it to 8 or 9 songs for for another full length. You know, it's kind of strange. Selling CDs is difficult. LPs sell a little bit better, but if you're not on Spotify, do you exist? You know, it's like,
how do you get on Spotify? I mean, how do you just like submit your stuff to them, or?
Well, there's like, I think I submit to CD Baby, right? I have and they have our stuff on like Apple Music and Spotify, Pandora, and some other, like several other music platforms, digital music platforms. So
like Bandcamp.
But Bandcamp is really cool though, because you could sell, like, you sell your stuff on Bandcamp. You can sell your CDs, or they could purchase a digital copy of it, and you get a portion of it. I've never received any money. Like, we've never received any money from Spotify or anything like that. You know,
I don't think we ever.
I'm just gonna let Chemacost play on loop all the time, so you'll get like 5 cents.
5,000 plays, you get 2 cents.
But if you go to chemicaust.com, it'll take you right to our Bandcamp page. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's rad. Yeah, that's your album's available on there for sale too. I saw that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And we still have a limited amount of those, and it's been really cool because originally we did an EP called As Empires Fall with a record label here in Dallas called Sounds of White Noise, and then we did a 1,000 CDs here in America, which this guy Robert Ewers, who has since passed away, but it was his first, like, he was a big supporter of metal, and this was the first album. Like, he was trying to do his own record label, but we're the first and only band that he released, and I kind of had to buy ourselves out of that. But we have 350 LPs that Empire Records out of Belgium have released out there in Europe, and 500 CDs in Brazil by Marquee Records in Brazil. Wow. And I was in Germany about a month or 2 back, and it was awesome because a guy that had bought our EP from a friend of ours that I was selling EPs to, and he was selling them out in Europe. He met me in Nuremberg, right? I was there for work. I had a day to kill, so I went back to Nuremberg, where I was stationed at the army back in the early 90s. But he took me to Zeppelin Field, and he took me all over like Nuremberg, and he had our EP, and I signed it. Like, it was amazing. You know, I'm like, I'm in Germany, like, and signing our EP. It was really cool.
That's rad.
That's rad. That
was pretty slick when you were sharing that with us. We're like, what are the chances on us?
That's awesome. I mean, it's amazing. We're just, we're not signed to any label, but we're just basically doing it all on our own, but to get recognition and actually being out there and having someone, that was excited to hang out with me and show me around.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
So you get a fan like in Germany, that's Germany is metal. They love metal in Germany. So So
we'd love to tour out in Germany, man. Play some shows, a festival, anything. That'd be great.
It's kind of a goal of ours to not so much, travel the world for months at a time, but to be able to be a part of some festivals here, stuff overseas like that, where it's really appreciated, and just to, in my mind, like fantasizing about playing music in front of like different cultured folks, but that are into the same thing. It's just that connection there is special. It's awesome. Sure. I love that.
Plus out there in Europe, like bands like from the US, they don't really tour in Europe so much. So when bands go out there from the US, everyone goes out to see them, because when are they coming out again? So everyone goes.
Yeah.
Not like here, like in the States, where
take it for granted.
Yeah, the fans here are kind of not spoiled, but they're kind of like, oh, so and so's coming. You know what? I'll catch the next time to come out. So
classic mistake. You never know when maybe the last time somebody plays because they break up or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. The rotation here is very heavy and high right now. That's for sure. I just saw Fit for an Autopsy and Acacia Strain at Amplified in Dallas, which I believe has been sold over the last few days. That's too bad. But holy cow, like the response there. This is kind of cool. So I've been a fan of Fit for an Autopsy for a number of years now. I'm just a fan. I'm not too into deathcore, but my God, if there's an amalgam of like that side of the genre, I think they do it best. I think their drummer Hosian is the power and like this tribal aspect, and I think he's from Costa Rica. And shout out to Hosian. Holy, just the power, the finesse, it's incredible how heavy he makes heavy music. It's like, how is this even possible? But I'm standing there, right? And we're listening to probably one of the heaviest songs that they do off the newer album. And I'm looking around and there's like a crazy pit going on. Pat Sheridan is up there playing one of those pink Jackson guitars. He's wearing a Motley Crue tank top with a backward hat. And there's like a 20-year-old standing in front of me, just smoking a massive joint that smells like candy. And then there's these other girls that are screaming at Pat, like not even kind of like, we love you. They're like hysterical, like, we love you. And he's like, and I'm like, wow, things are changing. It's not just us like, 80% like leather wearing bearded dudes at metal shows. I mean, it's really touching on a lot of folks that are picking up on it.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Definitely, for sure.
And and something, Brittany, that I think you kind of alluded to earlier, you mentioned something what we want to do moving forward with the release of our albums. We want to give this thing a shot of actually putting out a song at a time, putting more thematic emphasis on it, maybe pairing it with a video, of course, which is overly stimulating for everybody. Everyone wants to see that. Yeah. But I mean, we were talking about it before. It's like the passion behind putting out an album and the idea behind putting all this work into it is kind of being pulled away by everyone deciding to release singles and doing like what we want to try to do. And it's kind of like, I'm ready to conform to that and give it a shot anyway, but it does kind of pull at me a bit in a bad way to where it's like, I really miss the project and the build of a whole album, especially if it's like conceptual, I had an experience with one of my favorite bands. They released songs over a year and all of a sudden they dropped the album like a year after the first song that is on the album was dropped. And I was really disappointed. Now all the songs that released, all the songs were great that they released earlier, and then when the album drops, the rest of the songs are subpar. Some of them are just
that's what Brittany was talking about earlier. It's like you release
Robin
all the good stuff first, and then release the album.
Exactly. And I think social media does something to it. I think that there's just like, obviously, remember back in the day, like when when I grew up in Canada, there's this store called Kmart that's up there. No, they have Kmart in the States, right?
We used to have them,
Okay. Kmart was the big deal in Canada at the time. They sold CDs, and I'd go and buy CDs there of my allowance, and I'd be taking a gamble on it because it's like 2 songs would be good, and then the rest of them would be shitty, and then and it's like but
we didn't have the luxury of going on YouTube and listening to 6 singles before you looked at the fucking album cover and you went in with your $10 chore money that you earned and you're like, damn, I get 1 CD. What's it going to be? Let me flip through and see who has the coolest cover. Oh, Iron Maiden.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I bought Shout at the Devil on LP at Kmart.
You did?
Exactly.
Back when I was a kid, I was in middle school back in like 82, 83.
Yeah. No, like these days.
You guys remember?
Yeah, these days now it's like the build up to a record that's all gone. Like it used to be like a page in a metal magazine or in a local music paper, and you see an ad like, whoa, look at this record like coming out this day. But there was no like here's the title track listing for a new album coming out. Here's the artwork for the new album. Then the album comes out and people are like, all right, there's no element of like a surprise or like, wow, check out this album cover. Whoa, check out the lyrics, check out the songs. You don't get that anymore. It's all like, it's kind of like, I don't know. They release everything and then the album comes out and you're like, all right, there's nothing new on this. I've seen the album cover already. I already know the track listing. There's no element of like going to the store and buying the record, like, whoa, check it out, opening it up and looking at the artwork. Yeah. If it's a gatefold, you're like, whoa, and you get to look at all the little, look for little fucking, what do they call those little Easter eggs when you see like little things like Iron Maiden artwork, like, oh look, there's a little figure in the background, or oh, what's this in the corner, stuff like that. And that element of surprise and stuff is gone. Like for a lot.
I remember when Rain and Blood came out, like my friend Joe Reese would call him Satanic Joe, right? He went down and he was the first one to buy the tape and bring, like, we were all just waiting for him to bring it back. And it was just,
Exactly. Your one friend had the CD, and then you're all trying to like get it on your tape deck so you can fucking, or on tape. Well, yeah, exactly, on tape in the 80s. But
that album was the album was on both sides. So if you had like an auto reverse cassette player, it just played it nonstop.
Yeah, as soon as it flipped around, 28 minutes, I think, 28 minutes total. 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's it. Rain and Blood, probably the
most brutal 28 minutes that was ever
rash album ever.
My experience with, considering how much I love it now, my experience with Slayer growing up was, it was interesting because I started buying albums in 1994. I bought Divine Intervention. And because I saw it on Much Music in Canada, they played Ditto Head, and I was totally blown away by it. Now, obviously, at that point, I had heard of Slayer, but I wasn't really familiar with the material. And then, I bought God Hates Us All after that. I think I bought World Painted Blood. I love that album.
I fucking love that record, dude. That is like such an amazing record, dude.
It's amazing. The production, it sounds like they're in a closet together. But there's gain on everything enough for it to slap.
It's so angry.
Dude, it's just, but I just love the grainy earthiness of it. Like the way the guitar sounds it's like distorted, but it's not. I don't know. I just love that. Anyway, I would always go see a lot of bands that'd be opening for Slayer, right? So I'd get my live experience with them. Like I was in a Kill Switch, saw them open. Saw Slayer at Ozfest. Yeah. But now, falling into this and actually like immersing myself into it and playing it, and just from a paying respect to it with energy that we put out, and it's such a builder of musicianship, especially on my part, because it pushes you. You start to realize like bands that I'm really into that are like next generation, and you're like, wait a minute, this band is like. Hold on, they're like all Slayer and Exodus into one. Like, wait a minute, what? And so that's what going backwards does. It's fun, you realize this stuff maybe you didn't realize 10, 15, 20 years ago. So.
Yeah, exactly. You get a new appreciation for it now.
Okay, so on that note, Ernie, are you a Kiss fan?
I actually am. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
okay. What was it? You were hesitating there for
as a kid. All right, so. I saw Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park on TV. I was still in elementary school. And then the next day, everyone's like, oh, I want to be Peter Criss. I want to be Gene. I want to be just like Gene. It's like, totally got into it. I was a huge Kiss fan. And then from Kiss, I went to Motley Crue. It's like.
Right. So that's where I was going with that. I feel like Kiss shaped so much for metal. Like so many people are just like, oh, Kiss is lame or whatever, and I'm like, dude, you're into Emperor and Immortal. Like, that those bands would not exist without Kiss, right? Or like King Diamond, for example. Like, oh, I fucking love King Diamond, but Kiss is lame. Like, where do you think like King Diamond was inspired by? But people are like, oh, I'm such extreme metal, I don't listen to Kiss, their songs are weak or whatever. It's like, no, they're not. You need to go listen to all the discography. But a lot of the songs are really fucking heavy, like Black Diamond, just like the breakdown at the end of Black Diamond.
God of Thunder,
dude, all those songs. And so like
I met Chuck Schuldiner one time at a hotel in Albuquerque. I was like, and he came out, like I was hanging out with some people, some girl that knew the drummer from Gorefest or something that was on tour with them. And I gave them a ride to the hotel, and I was hanging out, and Chuck Schuldiner came out, and we're in the hotel, and he was saying, like, he was talking about how he had this live 1978 VHS tape of Kiss,
Awesome. Exactly. So the guy that fronted Death love Kiss. So end of story.
Yeah.
Kiss is metal. All right. I just always have to ask metalheads, are you into Kiss? Because
I was a huge Kiss fan. I'll never deny that. I might have grown out of them since, but I still appreciate everything they did. Like
I just feel like it shapes people into being into extreme music in a lot of ways.
Yeah. That's when I was a kid, I used to think I want to make a band, but I want them all like kind of like modeled after Gene Simmons.
All demons,
all demons, all spitting up blood, spitting fire.
Yeah. Oh, with they had the leather wings when he would go like that. He had the leather wings.
That interview where she's like, "You can't hide the hook. You're just a nice little Jewish boy under there," and he's like,
I saw that video. Yeah.
That's so good.
It's like I always think of that episode of Family Guy where Lois and Peter walk into the restaurant and then she sees Gene Simmons. She goes, "Hi-em?" She's like, "Lois." I love that episode. It's so good. And then they give her the mic. They're like, "Oh, I want to rock and roll all night." And they put the mic to Lois's face, and she goes, "And party all the time?" And everybody's like, the music stops, and everybody's like, it's a classic episode. So if you're into Family Guy.
But one thing I want to say, like we're saying, like things about a dying breed, and a lot of the stuff that's going on now, like Slayer's not touring anymore, and it's sad because it's like. Hopefully I'll be able to see them again. What I understand is they might do festivals or something like that. What? But there's also like, I remember this was probably 10 years ago. I saw Judas Priest, but it was Motorhead and Heaven and Hell and Testament opening up for Judas Priest at the Starplex over here. But it's sad to think that we'll never be able to see Motorhead again.
I know.
And Ronnie James Dio is gone.
Exactly.
I grew up on those guys, man. It's like, damn, to think that we'll never see him again.
Yeah.
I saw the Last in Line,
Oh, you saw that tour?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I never saw Dio live.
Me either.
Never saw Dio live. I missed out, man.
That was huge in Albuquerque, where I was from. When Dio came,
That's awesome, man. You got to see Dio. I wish I would have seen Dio.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was about this tall, right?
But his voice was like, damn.
Amazing.
And all that stuff with Rainbow and
we are fire and stone, and we all want to touch rainbow. I'm sorry, I love that song to start. There's like a making of video of that, and I don't know if y'all know that song he did. It was called Hearing Aid. It was like so Dio, it's like Blackie Lawless and like everyone in music, Jeff Tate and everybody.
Spinal Tap. They're not even musicians, but Spinal Tap was in it.
But there's like a making of Dio.
Right?
And Dio's like vocal coaching everyone, and I'm like, this dude is so amazing. He's like showing Jeff Tate and Blackie Lawless and all these guys their parts, and no, sing it more like this, And everyone's like, yes, Master Dio.
That song has got like 20 guitar solos in it, but like. All these dudes are going there like trying to like outdo each other.
And at the end, it's like an opera of metalheads. Stop. It's like awesome.
Okay, that'd be cool to see. That's
Dude,
awesome.
I gotta send you that.
You gotta check out the video. It's
we're gonna put it into the podcast.
It's so dated. You're gonna love it. Everyone's got the big
in '85,
hair.
I saw AC/DC for Fly on the Wall, and Yngwie Malmsteen opened up for him. And the entire time he's Yngwie Malmsteen.
Wow.
And he was just shredding and talking shit about Eddie Van Halen.
Dude.
Talk shit about
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of my stinking house with that.
I know, yeah.
You talk smack on Eddie Van Halen. How can you? That's crazy. I mean, Yngwie's awesome, but come on, dude.
Yeah.
Respect.
He has an ego. He has an, but he's an amazing
guitar
player.
Yeah, he's a shredder, man. My nephew told me that Yngwie Malmsteen, his writer, he's got to have two large pepperoni pizzas.
He stays so thin. How does he eat
that? He's not that thin.
Oh.
But my nephew's like, yeah, did you know that he demands 2 pepperoni pizzas on his rider, and if he doesn't get them, like the show's canceled or something like that. Like, what?
Wow.
That's just a rumor. I don't know.
Hilarious.
I'll have to look it up, but that's what my nephew told me.
What about the green M&Ms that Van Halen used to say? It's like, we
Yeah.
want a thing of M&Ms, but all the green ones have to be taken out, or the brown ones. I'm not sure.
Just to be clear, we've never had the privilege of adding a rider to any of our shows.
But if you did, what would be on it,
if
Rob?
we did, I was just going to ask Ernie, Brittany. Ernie,
never say never.
You want on your rider? You have to pick 3 things.
3 things.
Make him. I mean, yeah, 3 things.
Make them count, Ernie.
Don't incriminate yourself.
Bottle of Jack Daniels, case of Miller Lite, and another bottle of Jack Daniels.
No food, just liquid.
Liquid diet. What about you, Rob?
Oh gosh! Now, if we were to like realistically speaking, I mean, I'm a bourbon fan, so I'd have to have some bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very open about being a cannabis enthusiast, which is fine. So maybe I probably have to bring that myself just to save someone a run.
No, you can demand that.
You can get that on the rider if you ask for it.
But
It depends on what state you're in.
I might not be there yet, but anyway, I'd say definitely bourbon, definitely Pedialyte, and as far as like a snack goes, if I'm high profile, definitely prosciutto wrapped asparagus. But that's just otherwise, just
so
honestly
random.
give me one of those freaking fried puffs from freaking Love's. That's all.
String cheese. I would like to get some string cheese.
String cheese.
String cheese.
Okay,
Dude.
Johnny, what's on your rider? What's on your rider?
My rider
Yep.
would probably be
I kind of want to guess.
Reese's Pieces. Probably like some kind of bourbon, like a Jack or a Crown Royal or something, because I like whiskey and bourbon. And probably like Dr. Pepper or Topo Chico or something like
Topo
that.
Chico.
I'm definitely a massive Dr. Pepper fan.
Yeah, I mean, like even like the Mexican Dr. Peppers with the real sugar.
What? I've never seen that.
Dude.
Not the Mexican Dr. Pepper.
Well, there's Mexican Cokes, but
all the other ones, but not Dr. Pepper.
But I thought there was a city here in Texas that still does the Dr. Pepper from the original recipe.
Yeah. With cane sugar.
I think it's here.
It's here in San Antonio. Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
We have the Dr. Pepper in Big Red.
Dude, you got to try Dr. Pepper with cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It'll blow your mind.
Chocolate and cow's blood. So
it's not that corn. It's not that corn syrup.
Cow's blood and chocolate.
Cow's blood.
No caffeine, but
it's not caffeine you're feeling.
Yeah, man, you got to try it with the cane sugar. It's not that corn syrup crap. It's like real sugar, man.
How much can you tell the difference though when you? Oh my god,
dude! We'll do a blindfolded taste test next time you come to town, Rob.
Next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, I'm gonna be there I'll be there for work on early Tuesday, and I'll have my big sheepdog with me. So
we'll have to find you. We'll have to find you. Okay, so one time I tattooed a guy, a pretty famous country star, and on his rider, he demanded a portrait of B. Arthur be in his. And so after I tattooed him, the whole band signed this giant portrait of B. Arthur, and I have it hanging in my tattoo shop. So Rob, you may have seen it. It's right behind my station, but it's like the guy's face is on B. Arthur's nipples. It's like her topless. It's like an artist rendition of B. Arthur. She's topless, and then it's this guy Tyler Childers, and it's like his face on her nipples, like making like a crazy face. But I was like, what is this? This is so weird. And he was like, it's on my rider. I demand to see B. Arthur everywhere I go. I was like, that's a pretty awesome thing to put on your rider.
Now, were you a Golden Girls fan, Ernie?
I am a Golden
Girls. Yeah.
Of course.
I love a bunch of drunk old ladies.
Listen, I'm not mistaken, right? We're talking about the same actress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
B. Arthur.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So I grew up on watching a lot of that show, and I'll catch some reruns now, and like as with some stuff that you grow up with, you appreciate it different, or it absorbs different, or as the kids say, it hits different. It hits different when you're older. Anyway, no, but when it's older, when you're older, you appreciate it, and it's like these women or the writing anyway. But the way that obviously the writing and the way that these women were projecting this was just fucking brilliant. It was so good.
But they were all like acconcused actors.
Yeah.
They were like they've done like a lot of stuff before they.
But the chemistry and the sarcasm of being was like insane. That was like before sarcasm was even sarcasm. It was
so
just
now you're gonna have to rethink your writers.
Yeah. I'm not that big of a Golden Girls fan.
I'm gonna need who's okay. The mom. What was her name again?
There's B. Arthur, Betty White. I can't think of the other.
The mom. Mom.
The old lady, the grandma. What was her name? Estelle
Her
Getty.
name was Anita in the show.
Estelle Getty.
Yes.
Estelle Getty.
This is so not metal, but I'm just saying. You can put anything on your writer, okay?
Yeah. If we could go back in time, I would request her in the flesh.
I'm just saying. I don't know what I'd have on my writer. Definitely
not right at all.
But then also there's a lot. I think there's like a lot of people say they show these pictures and they say it was Betty White when she was younger, but it's not Betty White. It's another actress that I've seen that where they try to say this is Betty White like back in the day, but it wasn't. It's like a different actress. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Maybe I'm just coming up with shit out of it.
Yeah, we'll fact check that. We'll look it up and
we need to fact check that.
Definitely fact check.
But after you guys play Hell's Heroes next year, you're gonna have a lot more than 3 items on your writer. Okay, so we're gonna get you a picture.
Hey, if you know who we have to talk to, we would love to talk to them because we'd love to play.
We'll hook you up.
Yeah, we'd love to get out and play in San Antonio.
Hell yeah, man.
Brittany's got one of her friends is a promoter down there, so we can get you some contacts. Maybe get you down to Houston, get down to San Antonio.
Yeah,
it's just a couple hours down the road. We'll come out and do it.
That sounds great, guys. We can't wait to see the video and check out the new tune and share it with the world. We're fucking stoked.
Yeah.
Excited.
Excited. We're really stoked about it. And again, my connection with you guys is I totally appreciate it. You inviting us on here is awesome. Well, let's be honest. I was kind of like, hey, do you think we could do this? Hey, do you think we could do this?
Guys.
Yeah, of course, man.
So,
you're great.
It's a total honor to be, Brittany, I think the first time I saw you, you were hosting. It was at Trees, and I'm not sure if it was a Mike Scascia or a
Scascia benefit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Goat Whore played, and that was awesome. That was the first time I'd recognize who you were. It's like that was awesome. But
yeah, dude, that's what I was telling Johnny that I was like, man, I think I've known Ernie since maybe I moved to Fort Worth, I think in 2014, and that was right around the time that Scascia had passed, and they had that big benefit for him. They were selling raffle tickets, and everybody was there, and it was just such a beautiful celebration of Mike's life, and that's where I really was like, this is where I want to live. Like, this is such an amazing community of metalheads, dude.
Because I had met them rigor mortis when we had done I was in a band called Cut and Hammer, and then it was Embalmed. Embalmed was the original band from the 90s, and they had broken up, and then I hooked up with a guitar player, and we made a band called Cut and Hammer, and we opened up for rigor mortis a few times, and then they reformed Embalmed. I played bass with Cut and Hammer, but I played guitar in Embalmed, and we opened up for rigor mortis that night where Mike Scascia had a heart attack and died. We just played and got off stage, and they got up. They were like 4 or 5 songs into their set, and he fell out, and it was like, it was so horrible, man. It was such a sad, sad event. And it was Bruce Corbett's 50th birthday celebration, and everything I started off in Florida that day for work. I woke up in Florida and I flew all the way to Dallas, and then got all my stuff and went to Fort Worth to the Rail Club to play the show. Man, that stuff will always stick in my mind. It's both of those guys, Bruce Corbett was a great friend of mine. He helped Chemacost out a lot, and awesome. It's sad, but I really like that those dudes were older than I was, and they were still chasing their dreams,
Yeah. And I didn't know Scascia, but Johnny actually worked with Ministry and knew Scascia well, and was he was one of the nicest people ever.
Yeah, nice guy, real soft-spoken. But yeah, when you talked to him though, he opened up. He's a really nice guy, and I just remember how loud his amps were, and it was all high end. He was all high end because I guess his hearing is so shot. He had no high end, so everything was all the high end was cranked. It was he's just fucking damn, man. Yeah, I met Mike, and he was really we had a day off in Dallas, and he took us down to this local studio. He showed us around. He showed us his guitars, and what a great guy, man. He was a really nice guy.
Bruce too. Bruce was I got to know Bruce and Gina really well living there, and he was just so cool, and just loved seeing War Beast and Wizards of Gore, and just like he never lost that rigor mortis sound. His voice was just so powerful, just such a good person, And when you meet these people that you're like, I remember I think I was 16 or 17, and one of my best friends, this guy, he sings for a band called Bitter End, Texas hardcore band, Daniel Rosen, and we would go to shows up in Dallas because he was best friends with Riley from Riley's past. It was in Power Trip, but Riley's band was called Balls Out at the time, and so we'd go up there and we'd go to Dallas they would play shows, and then we would go to Bill's Records, and Daniel would look for records like all fucking day, and then me and our other friends that would go in the van would be like, dude, it's been 8 hours. But anyway, Bill had a crush on him, so he would like give Daniel all this cheap shit, and then all of us would be like, hey man, he charged us like $50 for what he charged Daniel $2. But I remember Daniel specifically finding a rigor mortis, the self-titled album poster, and Bill was like, wow, I can't believe I still have this is from 1980 5 or 86 or whenever the album came out. And it was like a mint poster, but that Bill's was such a clusterfuck of stuff. If you ever been to Bill's, it was just a warehouse, and you just had to dig, and whatever you found, Bill would price it when you took it up to the counter. And I remember seeing that logo and just being like, that is the coolest logo besides the Motorhead War Pig that I've ever seen, and just being so enamored with that album art that I became obsessed with the album after that, and then wound up meeting Bruce Corbett over 10 years later, and was just like, oh my God, that's him. That's the voice of that album, of that poster that we spent 8 hours finding at Bill's. But I mean, that's what led me into liking rigor mortis and discovering them. And
you've tattooed that rigor mortis like skull several times, right?
Yeah. And I actually tattooed Gina and was supposed to tattoo Bruce, but he was pretty sick at the time that they had made a tattoo appointment to both get tattooed, and he wasn't feeling it. And I was like, let's not compromise your immunity anymore. And we wound up tattooing Gina, and Gina got a Batman and Wonder Woman little symbol to symbolize she and Bruce before he had passed. So that was a really special day to be able to spend the day with them and to tattoo Bruce's wife and stuff. So yeah, it's really. And
Gina's an awesome lady. Like, she's awesome.
Yeah, man. I love DFW. We're thinking about moving back. So we have like 1 year left here, and then we're going to find our.
Come out here. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would love to.
We'd love to have you. Man. We'd love to have you closer by for sure. I'm sure Dave Woodard would love to see you closer by.
Dave's rad. We love Dave. He's a good guy.
Just to go backwards a little bit and explain my experience with Dave, which was short but yet very sweet. We are going to embark on a project together, and Dave was the singer, and I had the pleasure of rehearsing with him a few times and then playing a show with him. And I mean, Dave, if you watch this, man, like, I love you, but God damn, you really know to treat a drummer on stage. Am
I going to have to kick your butt?
we're in Oklahoma, and it's my first show, and I'm doing a double set. We're doing the band called Protest that we were at the time, and then the post-mortem, which was War Ensemble at the time. So a lot of us are doing double duty. The Protest set is first. I go through the first song. Dave turns around couldn't even finish the last note of the last song. Like, oh, God damn, Rob, that was a little quick, wouldn't you say? On the mic. I'm like mortified. I'm like, because I care.
Mortified.
But also in practice, he was giving her a hard time about blast beats. Like,
oh yeah. So I'm working on this part. It's like 230 beats per minute. I'll easily and openly admit, grind and blast is not exactly my forte. So I'm working up to it, and we go through a pass of the song, and he turns to the guitar player and goes, "There's blast beats in the song, right?" And I'm like, I'm just gonna let that go. We do another pass through, and he looks at me. He looks at the guitar player, and he's like, "There's blast beats in this song." And I'm like, "I'm fucking right here, dude." Like, God, he just told me.
It's not the Dave that we know, all right?
Like he's probably like the most like teddy bear of a ball buster. Like, talented as hell. I love the guy. He's just the killer front man. And at the time, it was honestly really disappointing when the whole project didn't work out. But it didn't work out for legitimate
But we all know why. There's one common denominator, and we won't name names. And it ain't Dave.
But I chat with him now and again, and he's doing pretty well. He's doing well.
Yeah, Dave's always cool. Every time he messages me, he's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I love the guy.
Yeah, dude, we would really love to be back up there because the vibe is just so different in North Texas. Like, I'm from San Antonio, and it's just kind of such a dour and negative vibe, and people are just kind of like, they're not, and this is a blanket statement, but a lot of people are really shitty and rude here. Like, you walk in a store and you're like, hey, and they're like, why the fuck are you smiling at me? Kind of vibe. That's just how I am, man. And so you go and like, I remember the first time I went in a bar in Fort Worth, I think it was Lola's, and I walked in and some hot chick was like, what's up, girl? Fuck you. I want to hang out with you. I was like, you know, whereas like you find another chick typically in San Antonio that's like-minded and is tattooed and looks like you would be friends, and they're like, who the fuck is this bitch, you know, instead of being like, let's be friends, we're the same, you know. And so it's just like such a different vibe down here, and it's a lot more negative. And I told Johnny that when he first moved here, and he's like, I don't see it, and now he's like, yeah, I see it, because we've been here for 3 years. So anytime we go up there, it's like, the air lifts, and people are just like so cool and positive, and it's so metal, and so many shows come through Dallas. It's just like such a mecca for metal. Like your friend was saying, like there's a show every other day, dude. I can't keep up.
Yeah. I mean, I moved down here from Chicago, and that's, you know, like obviously that's a spot where everyone goes for sure. So it's kind of spoiled there. But there's, even pre-COVID, there was a lot more coming through DFW than I had ever experienced. And even just in Texas in general, there is way more of a music scene, more of a vibe. In Chicago, I felt like it was a bit more cutthroat. There wasn't as much of a community. Even if some folks, like, even when I say that to some people in Texas, they're like, you think there's a community here? Yeah, a lot more than there was in the big one. For sure. For sure.
And there definitely is. You know,
But like one thing I was going to say too is like, I spent most of my adulthood downtown Chicago in different neighborhoods over 18 years. And I could really appreciate the what I guess some would call the Southern hospitality. You know, like people are a little bit nicer, a little bit more patient with you. I think there's a certain level, a different style of class. Like for instance, and this is in the most classy way to be said possible, but I remember going out for brunch with my ex-wife, and we'd go out with our kids and whatnot, and you'd see families show up and they'd be just dressed really nicely for brunch, and it'd be like a thing, but not like glammy, and everyone would be talking with each other, and it's just this vibe that I don't think you get many other place. And maybe you do, but maybe not. It's like a Southern thing, I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a certain draw and a certain thing to it that I really like. But yeah, I definitely, I get this great contrast. Like, it took me a few years, like meeting guys like Ernie and Mike and Pierce, but, and you guys, of course, but I love Texas now. Like, this is definitely my home, and I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere for a little bit, you know. I'm trying to convince my kids to freaking like, we want to go to college here, maybe. I'm like, why don't you consider Texas? I'm like, well, mom doesn't really.
Your kids are in Chicago still, yeah?
Yeah. I'm up there every 3 or 4 weeks, I guess. I don't miss Chicago, and God, I think COVID made that town weird. It really did.
It made everyone weird. But yeah.
It did. However, like places like LA, Chicago, and then Southern Ontario and Canada as well, where my mom lived, it just was totally COVID mishandled, changed a lot of weird shit. But Chicago got a new mayor recently. Yeah. And I think that's going to turn some things around.
No more Beetlejuice?
Thank God.
No more Beetlejuice.
She's horrible.
We won't get into politics, but
we won't talk politics, but she was terrible.
No. Yeah. I'll just conclude that and cap that off with one of my best friends has been a Chicago cop for 10 years. And she's like, I've never not wanted to do my job ever until that. It just, everything was just, and that's scary to hear. Let's be honest.
How scary that, police officers felt so threatened for their lives, and just people in general, like even us, like leaving the house, like, fuck, man, you hear every other day. Like yesterday, an armored car got robbed in the drive-thru of Whataburger, held it captive at gunpoint. I'm like, imagine at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon, like imagine being in the afternoon, like, just waiting on your Whataburger, like in the drive-thru, listening to Chemacost on your fucking CD player, and then 4 people jump out and fucking rob the armored car in front of you, like.
In Dallas, like some guy bought an armored van off of eBay and attacked the police station with it. You know,
my God.
This was a couple of years ago. But it's crazy stuff. But it's like I moved to Dallas 23 years ago from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Dallas has really taken me in, and I feel like at this point I'm from Dallas, and I love when we get on the road. And I like to say we're a Chemacost from Dallas, Texas.
Awesome.
I love to say that. It's like, if we're in Illinois or Tampa, wherever, I love to say that.
Okay, Ernie. So when you go to Europe and start playing shows, make sure you tell them you're Texan, not American. Okay,
Yeah.
because you get a lot.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing, right?
You tell them you're American, they're like, and then you tell them you're Texan.
When you say you're Texan, they think that's a totally different country.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah.
They really do.
I remember back in the day when we used to go to Europe. They're like, don't tell them you're American, tell them you're Canadian. Like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, we're from Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, that's weird, man. I don't know, man. I guess I don't know. Like, it's kind of cool, like, because when we tell people you're from Texas, they're like, oh, Texas, howdy, cowboy, howdy.
Do you
howdy,
ride?
howdy.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah. They
right.
think people ride horses down into downtown or something.
Totally, dude.
That's funny.
It is kind of cool. You know what I found being kind of a newbie to DFW is the contrast between Dallas and Fort Worth. It took me a while to appreciate it. Like I lived, when I first moved here, I lived in a condo for a bit with my wife, and then we bought a house. And then when we split up, we sold the house, and I moved over to like the Plano, Louisville area. It was right basically like the DFW tollway and 121. The area is being really built up, and there's a lot of touristy stuff, and it's kind of seductive when you go over, like, wow, all this stuff over here, that's cool. I mean, I'm never going to go shopping at Shields, and I'm never going to ride the fucking Ferris wheel, but it's there, and it's kind of like, oh, that's... I moved over to the Fort Worth side over here about 2 months ago, and I made friends the very first night I moved in.
Dude, that's why I moved to Fort Worth. I literally went up there for a show to see Exodus, and I met so many people that night, and I got hammered and was like, "This is the best." And I literally like went home and packed all my shit, and I was like, peace. And my dad was like, what, you're moving again? Because I moved like to New Orleans. Like I would go somewhere and be like, I love it, I'm moving. And my dad was like, you're fucking crazy, but do whatever you want. But I was always like self-sufficient, always had my own places, and he was like super supportive, but he never wanted me to leave, but he was always supportive and like, you go, girl, you're a badass, you'll figure it out. But I just, the vibe of Fort Worth, it was just so welcoming and cool and so Texan,
Yeah, that contrast between like Dallas is a lot more transplant. It's a bit more,
a little more yuppie.
California's going there, Arizona's going there. Not to speak out of things I don't know about, but it seems like they're bringing their money over there. But Fort Worth is the Fort Worth side is just like I connect with people more. It's more convenient. I mean, I love it, and so I'm like definitely in the best place I've been. I feel like so far living in Texas.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, hell yeah, guys. Awesome. We're going to have to come visit you.
Glad you moved down to Texas and you left Chicago.
Yes. And I'm glad I responded to your email, because sometimes I don't see emails, and then I respond to people like Johnny Araya at whatever.com that emailed me, and then I'm like, I meet some of my best friends.
Yeah.
So
glad good thing that you moved out of Albuquerque, Ernie, moved to Dallas, and you started a band, and things are going well, man. You're doing what you want to do. That's right.
Forgive me for asking, John, but I asked you this in the tattoo shop, but where are you from originally out of the States? Are you guys from California, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised in LA, Los Angeles.
Right. Okay.
And I left in 2019 and moved here to Texas in 2019. Yeah.
But the family's originally is from Chile.
Yeah, my family, my mom, dad, and all my older siblings were born in South America. And me and my younger sister were born in Los Angeles. So
gotcha. Okay. And how long have you been in Texas then?
She's 4 years.
Since he met me.
It'll be 4 years.
Oh, okay.
It'll be 4 years in
October? We moved right after the last Slayer show, or right before the last Slayer show. October, and then we moved like Halloween of 2019, and then he did the last Slayer shows, and
and in December, I got a U-Haul, put my truck on a trailer, and loaded the shit up, and we drove out here from Los Angeles.
Then COVID hit, and it was like,
got here.
It was right after.
No, right before.
I'm sorry. Yeah, right before COVID.
Yeah, December 2019, and then COVID hit, and we're like, "Oh, all right." Yeah, and we're just locked in our house. Like, all right, what do we do now?
It's a true test to see if we really like each other, and we passed.
No, that's awesome. That's crazy. It's kind of weird thinking about like what you're doing right before COVID hit, and not to conclude anything on a sour note, but I lost my dad that literally the day that like the Western world shut down.
No.
So, or no, I'm sorry, not the day. It was the day before. March 15th, 2020 is a Sunday. And on the 16th, my mom and I we're pretty late about it. We're going to the crematory services place, and we're listening to the radio on the way there, and Trudeau's just like, everyone, Canadians need to come home. On the next station, it's like, the NBA has been canceled. I'm like, oh, this is real, and the NBA is fighting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And so that time is very much like, I'm not going to say it's even I'm sensitive to it, but rather just a very defining, bizarre time.
Yeah. I think for everyone.
Yeah, for obviously, even for anybody. Yeah. And coming out of it now, it's interesting to kind of, our song "Infectious Disease" is very pandemic-ish. And there's a bit of religious connotation in there too, but it's very around then.
Yeah, around the disease and around the riots that were going on, like all of the everything kind of included, and it was basically just like stuff I heard on the news that just like basically wrote itself. It's just
that's how all the best punk rock and metal was written back in the 80s. It's like, man, where's all the new fucking kick-ass music of like talking about all these crazy world events like we used to have, So I'm glad that it's starting to come out, and you hear
what
some
else
in
is
the
really
new
cool?
Obituary album. What's that?
You can actually hear the words that are coming out of Ernie's mouth, and they're somewhat like he enunciates so well.
Enunciation.
You can really hear it. It's like, holy shit!
Dude, I love your
Ernie.
vocals,
You don't do any
yeah.
pig squeals, do you? Are you doing any? No.
No barns allowed. No barns allowed.
Listen, I love deathcore, right? I love deathcore. I like my bands, but some of the style of singing right now, it's literally just a or, right? But when you read the lyrics, they're actually saying words. There's words to that.
You're like, that's not a word.
Yeah, it takes a lot for to be able to enunciate and sing like that, like Ernie there, and like who John Tardy. An example of Obituary. Like, you can understand what he's singing. Like,
and it's still so fucking
heavy, So
I'm kind of going up the ladder and like out in space by saying this because it's also very well known. But probably the singer that blew my mind the most, that had this ferocity, but you could almost hear every word that he's fucking saying, and they're not just elementary words. He's singing about real shit. Was Corey Taylor on that first fucking Slipknot album.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was like even rapping, and you could hear everything and fucking it's just like, holy shit. No one was really doing it like that yet. And to be quite frank, not a lot of guys do it still like him now.
Yeah.
Like No, go ahead.
There's a reason Johnny always says that Carrie King always tried to sound like, or wanted Tom to sound like Corey, right? Like, wanted Slayer to go the direction of Slipknot. And so I was like, what? Slipknot was probably modeled after Slayer. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Very much.
God Hates Us All. Carrie wanted Tom to do like a Slipknot style vocals. And I remember Tom calling me and saying, oh man, he goes, man, I can't do this. I don't sing like that. I sing like Slayer, and
Corey Taylor would have been like, what?
He almost quit the Slayer. He called me, man, I'm fucking done. I quit. I'm like, what, dude? What's up?
Well, on songs like Disciple, Exile, New Faith on that album, you can hear him pushing hard. Yeah, like that's different than what was. But was it Tom?
No, it was. To
me, it was.
No, it was.
But it was intense.
It was more like
blood.
It was more like this Carrie, like, I want you to sing like this.
Yeah.
So in the studio, it was like, they would do a track, Carrie style, and then they would do a track the way Tom wanted to do it, and then they would see the producer would be like, okay, which one sounds better? And usually it would go with, with Tom, because Carrie's style is like bam, 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 bam. There's no kind of versatility, Whereas and plus when Jeff was alive, Jeff was Jeff was like that too. He was more like, he brought the melodic side to it. Like South of Heaven was pretty much all Jeff and Tom.
Oh, no way.
It's awesome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think Carrie had writer's block on that record. So Jeff and Tom kind of did, pulled up most of the slack on that album. But like Jeff was the heart and soul of that band, when and Dave too, when Dave was out, I was like, whoa, man, this is
yeah.
I don't know, man. And then when they came back with the World Painted Blood, was Dave, it was the full band again. That's why I think that's why it's so good, because amazing. Lombardo, Dave.
Wait. Who played drums on World Painted Blood? I thought it was Bostaff.
That was Dave.
What?
No, Bostaff played on Divine and God Hates Us All.
Yeah.
Right. But then they got Dave back for World.
And then I knew Dave came back for that album. What's the album called with the hand? There's people yell at the screen.
The hand.
The bullet through the hand. It came out in 2006.
Oh, that was Christ Illusion.
Yeah. Okay. I thought Dave was on that, and I thought Paul came back on World Painted Blood, but then he left again, and then I thought I saw Dave touring around playing it, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, Dave.
But
yeah, Dave played on World Painted Blood. That's why it was so amazing, so amazing.
Yeah.
But, Paul's a good drummer, but he ain't no Dave, man. Right. And in the last couple of tours, man, it was just really. But,
listen, I'll just say this: Dave. I've seen Dave play. It was like a show right before COVID. It was like some type of collab show. He was playing. It was I think Steve. It looked like Steve Harris of Iron Maiden was recording it, and it was it was behind Dave, and Dave was just like ripped through Angel of Death at 56 years old.
Yeah,
and it's like amazing. Holy shit! I'm sure he just rips it up just as much, but comparatively speaking, let's just say, like, even to younger drummers, like Dave just freaking blazes through.
But doesn't Dave have an album coming out that he totally did himself?
Something.
Yeah. It's his first solo record. It's just a drum album.
Wow, that's a trip.
I talked to Dave a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, Mike Patton was like, he pushed me to do this record since 1998. He's like, you got to do a solo record. You got to do a solo record. And he said, hey man, COVID hit. He goes, I wasn't doing anything. So that's when he started working on it. And, and there's a single online. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't.
Holy smokes. It's awesome. It's really no vocals. It's just drums. Everything is percussion. Everything you hear is percussion. Like these weird sounds, like, wow, that's a percussion instrument. What is that? It's amazing. I can't wait for that thing to come out.
He's just so versatile too, because he just had 2 records come out. He had a record come out with his wife called Venom Morris, and it's he and his wife Paula, and then Tyler Bates, who's been playing with Jerry Cantrell, and he did the score for the new John Wick movie, and he's just like an amazing musician, guitar player. Played on it with Dave and Paula Lombardo, and it's just like this beautiful love album, and you'd be like, this is Lombardo, and Dave,
well, that's awesome. That's
cool.
He
even told Johnny that he was like, he was nervous to release it because I don't know how like my metal fans are going to receive this, but Paula's voice is so amazing. His wife is like this incredible, like she's Canadian too, isn't she?
I'm not sure.
I think she's Canadian, but she's got this beautiful like opera voice, like background. But it's like it's Lombardo and his wife, and it's like this beautiful love story album, and it's just kind of like you hear their love that they have between one another in her lyrics, and just the way that they're writing together is like this beautiful thing, and you would never know it's the dude that was on fucking Rain and Blood. It's just
it's a great record. You gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. It's awesome, yeah.
But yeah, guys, we've already taken up 2 hours of y'all's time, so we can talk to you after.
It's so awesome talking with you guys.
It's great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Man.
So Chemacost, Infectious Disease, April 15th.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear a full length album.
See an old school music video. This is not a bunch of CGI crap, dude. I just want to see you guys fucking go
Definitely
crazy.
not that.
So
Some real
excited.
music.
It's a bunch of dirt and fire and
Yes.
middle-aged guys trying to
All my
stay
favorite
alive.
things.
That's rad, man. Yeah,
Hell
we're
yeah.
stoked. We're stoked. We're stoked for that. We're
Awesome.
We're stoked for you guys. Let's hope that this album you put out, gets you out in the out in the world, and get you out touring, man.
Shit,
hope
just
so,
the
you know.
single's going to, because I'm not gonna lie, Rob leaked it to me and it's amazing. So
What? I didn't hear it.
sorry, Rob.
What? I get the 20-second teaser.
Well, Johnny
No,
got
that's
a
all
real
we have.
job,
That's
so
all
I
we
was
have. The 26-second teaser.
Well, listen, Johnny, I'd be
Unless
happy
he's
to
been
share
holding
it.
out on me. But
Yeah. Oh, I got the total updated.
Oh.
We took some vocals down a little bit. Turned the bass way up.
No.
No, it's all good. Thank you guys very much, and
Thank you,
we'll
man.
obviously be in touch sooner than later.
Yeah.
thank you guys. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Dude,
It
we
was
love
pleasure.
you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. You guys are rad. Keep it up, man. You guys are do it yourself. That's rad, man. And you got good company. You guys are like-minded, and that's like 99% of what makes a band is the chemistry. You guys get along,
yeah,
and you guys are friends, and that's awesome. That's amazing. That's good.
It
You got a
shows
good
on stage
thing
when you play, that you have that good energy, and that's really cool.
For this moment right now, I wish Mike was here because
Yeah.
Mike is the epitome of I just love to fucking play.
Yeah,
Tell me where
he
and
is,
when,
yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah, he loves it.
Awesome.
You can
and
see
and
it.
it comes through in his face.
If you see him on stage,
We love you,
It's-
Mike.
That's awesome.
That's rad, guys.
Fuck yeah, guys. Congratulations. Everybody go check out Chemacost,
right.
and we can't wait to see you guys jam. So,
Oh yeah.
and happy
All right, have a
birthday,
good night.
Rob.
Yeah, have a good night,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Next time I'm baking you a cake.
We'll send you some bunt cakes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Y'all have a good night.
All right, guys.
Stay metal.
Good
Good night,
See y'all
guys.
soon.
Take care, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was awesome catching up with Ernie and Rob. They're great friends. As you saw in the interview, Rob is a really good tattoo client of mine, and hopefully Ernie will be someday too.
Yeah.
And yeah, those guys are great. I can't wait to see the video on April 15th.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear the single. Yeah, April 15th is when the single comes out.
Yeah.
And with the video, we saw, the clip online. It looks really cool. It sounds really cool. And it starts and then it's done. It is like the definition of a teaser clip. It's like 20 seconds, man. Like,
That's how it should be. Yeah, exactly. But it's so old school. There's the guys jamming in front of the bonfire, just like going crazy instead of, just a bunch of crazy CGI or whatever where you never see the band. I love that. I dig that. I dig seeing Ernie just, so it's killer.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Thank you guys for checking it out.
Yeah, thank you. We want to thank our sponsor, Real Skin.
Thank you, Real Skin, for
Thank you, Real
sponsoring
Skin.
us. They're our first sponsor ever. And Real Skin is a synthetic tattoo skin that is amazing for learning how to tattoo. I was teaching Johnny how to tattoo through the pandemic, and it's something that I wanted him to practice on so he could really see how pliable a real skin is, because everybody's skin is different, and you've got stretchy skin, you've got tough skin, you've got super muscular people that are hard as a rock, but real skin kind of gives you the actual stretchiness of the skin. So thank you guys for sponsoring us, and if you're watching this and you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Haunted Chapel podcast, please reach out to us and let us know, and let's work something out. That'd be awesome. We love to work with people that are like-minded and people that we actually support and we use their products. So hit us up if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Haunted Chapel podcast at jbhauntedchapel@gmail.com.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. And we can't wait to reveal our next guest to you guys. We're going to try to be more scheduled with these podcasts, get them coming out every 2 weeks, and it's going to be really exciting. We have some super killer guests lined up for y'all.
Yeah, our next one's going to be great. We had a good talk with him, and we'll let you know coming up who it is, and I think you'll enjoy it. He had some really good stories, and good guy too. So
works for one of the I'll save that for later.
yeah, we'll save it for later.
I don't want to give it away.
We'll let you know in time.
Thank you guys again. We
Thanks,
appreciate all the love and support. I will be announcing some new giveaways soon. So drop a comment. Let me know what you want me to make as far as a new heavy metal table. And I'll be announcing a new tattoo giveaway as well soon. So stay tuned. And as always, stay metal.
And stay haunted.
Touch it harder.